Okay, I think I'm going to fill out my outfield here first, and I'm going to go with Emmanuel Torrero. Started out really hot in Bradenton last year, kind of fell off a little bit. Was one of those, I guess, for us prospect guys, was like a prospect darling for like at least the first half of the season. I definitely still think there's a lot in there for him. And then I just look at the lower mine, and it's like they're a lot of people are like, well, he fell off, so it's like he's done. And it's like he's not even 22 years old yet. So I mean, these guys are going to have some growing pains. They're going to go, you know, they're going to have stretches where they do really well. But I did like what I saw a lot from him. And then I'm gonna finish off the outfield, and I am gonna go. And I'm gonna take a risk here because I'm assuming he's gonna be in Bradenton, but I'm gonna go Estar Suero.
Okay.
I'm assuming he is. If he doesn't, it'll bite me, and I'll have to drop him and pick somebody else up. But I mean, I think he showed enough between the two organizations last year that I really don't think that it's not a whole lot to be gained there. I've seen some video on him recently, and I definitely do think that he'll start in Bradenton. But I mean, people. I think that people probably are saying who is that guy even, but I mean when you acquire people from Milwaukee system, you acquire people from the Padres system, different stuff like that. Like you'll know him by the end of this year, believe me.
Yeah. I think he is like some of like the highest upside probably too, especially in like the lower levels on there. Things start clicking and all that for him. Like has some power potential and he can steal a bunch of bases. So yeah, if that's what you're using to fill out your bench with, I mean that's kind of what you want to do with like one of those or your outfield with. That's kind of what you want to do with there. Someone that's gonna swing for the fence kind of thing. So yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I'm debating on this one of filling out my outfield or grabbing another pitcher. But oh man, this is kind of tough. So I'm gonna bank on another year of development and building strength and stamina, even though he's going to the worst possible place for pitching. And I'm gonna pick one of our personal favorites, Alessandro Urcolani.
I like that.
He's likely going to Greensboro, which might not be the best when he starts tiring out during the game. But if I mean, he's a pretty big kid, and he's been reaching upper 90s, middle, sitting middle, hitting upper 90s, and if he can maintain that deeper in the games, I think he's going to have a breakout year.
Yeah, and he's still 19 too, so I'm sure that the filling out and the being able to maintain the velocity thing that'll come with. I think his birthday is at the end of April or something like that. So so he'll be 19 when the season starts. So yeah, that's definitely on my list on there. So let's see. I think I'm gonna fill out my infield, and I'm gonna take. He came into a spring game the other day and hit a home run. And I wrote about him last year. He made like a little tweak to his swing. He was getting the ball in the air more, and he was seeing a lot more power and stuff like that. I'm gonna take Jackson Glenn. Not sure exactly where he's gonna play and stuff like that. I mean, he could end up probably just being a depth guy that gets shipped out to or something like that. But like he can hit. He's shown he can hit. He had that really bad year in Greensboro and what was it 2022 or something like that. Bounced back this year. Like I said, got the ball in the air a little bit more, saw some better results, and
I said because he had a near like 800 OPS in Altoona, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. It was close. Yeah, once he got to Altoona, I was actually shocked to see him hit for the. I wouldn't say power, but yeah, he hit a lot better than I figured he would there, and yeah. So and then to go back around. I think I'm going to take another pitcher. Woods, and I'm going to take another guy that I've kind of mentioned, a guy that I like, and I'm going to start sneaking in some like reliever guys here too for it. I'm going to take Valentin Linares. They switched him to reliever. Once they switched him to the bullpen, the velocity spiked up. He was actually in a Baseball America article about guys who saw like a velo bump this past year. They did note it was because he made the move to the bullpen, so that was kind of, obviously you can see that a little bit, but he's looked like a whole new pitcher out of the bullpen. He pitched in the Winter League too. I can't remember which Winter League, and he looked really good there. Was actually the team's closer. I feel like he's probably going to, wherever he pitches at, probably Altoona, he'd probably be in line to be one of the like ninth inning guys there. So I'm going to go with Valentin Linares with another pick.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to finish off outfielders right now, and it's another guy that's kind of a unknown deeper down in the lists, more of a contact over power guy at this moment, but Esmeralyn Valdez. I think he got a taste of low A Bradenton after a pretty big year in the FCL. So I think a full season in the Bradenton, again, he was more of like a contact over power type guy, but I think there might be a little bit more in there. And I think I got a stud starting outfield.
You definitely do. And here's the thing, guys. I even confused myself when I said Esther Suaro. I actually meant Gianni Severino because I already had 3 outfielders.
I wasn't going to say anything until afterwards, but
I confuse myself with it. Yeah, it's Gianni Severino. Because I looked at it as we're going through here. If anybody's watching this, you probably saw like a confused look on my face where I keep on going like, "What am I doing?" And I was like, I talked myself into like the trades, and I was going to talk about where he came from and all this kind of stuff. And then I was like, "Oh, Esther Suero," and I'm like, "No, it's Gianni Severino, you goofball." No, so that's who I meant to pick for my infield. So yeah, because if you want me to have 4 outfielders, I mean that would be cheating. But yeah, that's not what I want. Oh yeah, I mean with the Rays do it all the time. So I mean I figure if they could do it, then I could do it. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm the person supposedly running this draft, and I'm screwing it up from the get go. So
I mean, maybe again. Yeah, the way the Pirates work, he might have gotten some time in the infield this year anyway. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is I was thinking maybe and Manuel got some time in the infield, but no, he was all outfield last year too. So maybe it's because I haven't pitched. I haven't got a pitcher in a while here. It's just throwing me off a little bit. This one's good. I'm gonna go with Po Yu Chen. And with Chen, hasn't really shown great numbers anywhere, but hasn't shown terrible numbers. So I'm kind of just betting on him getting comfortable. Hopefully in Altoona, get him out of Greensboro a little bit, get him out of that ballpark. So I'm going to kind of maybe just bet on Chen. And sometimes, guys, I just go with guys that I've seen live at times. And I saw him pitch down in Bradenton, and I thought his stuff, he played very well. It's just nothing that he does it's not going to be shock and awe. Do you know what I mean? And I think maybe some people are expecting that. But he's not, that nothing is bad either. So maybe get him up to Altoona at some point in time, and maybe the numbers will start to look a little bit better. After that, I'm going to need the expert's opinion on how to pronounce this, because this is a player that I really like, but I didn't see it on there. It's Brandon, and it's Bedoy. Okay, so I
think it's like Bedeau. Yeah.
Bedeau. Yeah, because I
would
didn't
have
know
said Benoit. I'm not.
the Joie. I didn't know if it. I kind of looked it up, and I didn't know if it was like a French type name. Like, because here's the thing: is up here in Pennsylvania, we say Dubois, and it should be Dubois. But so I'm gonna pronounce it that way. I'm gonna pronounce it I'm gonna go with Brandon Dubois. So I'm gonna take him. Pitched really well. I think he only got about 22 innings last year. Had something like 42 strikeouts in those innings. Did have a little bit of walk concerns. Definitely gonna be a reliever, but hopefully, can pack up maybe some saves, some strikeouts for me down there.
I know he was a guy that even Baseball America talked about as like a breakout guy this year too. And I know Noel and I really get into like the pitch shape and the analytics and like with fastballs and stuff like that on the site a lot. And he's one of the guys that kind of has one of the more like appealing looking fastballs, at least when it comes to like the induced vertical break, it's up there. I think it was like 18, 19 inches or something like that last year. So I think Noel is fact checking me right now on it, but
no, actually, I'm doing more. I'm doing more searching. I don't know if you saw the look. It's because in a lot of places, Esmeralda Valdez is listed as an outfielder, but then I'm actually on like roster resource and it has him listed as a first baseman, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I guess technically, yeah. So yeah, he gets a little bit of both. So. That's why, because you can keep talking because I'm doing a little searching.
I'm just saying he's like one of the guys that like I really like towards the end of the year. He had a lot of injury issues and all that too, and I think they're working him back slowly. That's why he only got like the 20 innings or so that he did last year. But like I said, Baseball America mentioned him as a breakout guy. I think they mentioned him as like one of the first few people they left off of the Pirates top 30 list when they did that. So we'll probably start seeing his name a little bit more as we see some guys graduate and whatnot. And Nola mentioned that like Quinn Priester, probably a good chance he starts in the majors. The first time he records it out, he officially graduates from prospect status. So we'll start seeing people move up pretty quickly. I'm not sure. Nola knows it better how much like Nikki G needs to graduate officially or something like that. I know he has to be close.
It's only a handful of at bats. I'd have to look. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's actually probably a really good pick because I didn't even really think about that too. Though, with the points for saves, he's probably
he picked up a couple last year.
Yeah, he's probably a good bet to be probably one of the back end closers in the minors. Okay, so. Oh man, I'm probably gonna make a bit of a leap on this one, and this kind of interestingly, doing the book is what kind of is gonna lead me on to this one. But I'm gonna pick for catcher Miguel Sosa.
Okay.
Admittedly, he's not a guy I knew quite a bit about originally, and a little bit of insight. I had actually done Cannon Smith and Jigba, his report, but then he got DFA'd. So then we had to scramble at the end there. And ironically, he comes back and I messaged Finoli about it. And I'm like, does he go back on the list or not? But at that point, it was far gone. It had already been like submitted and everything, but this Sosa, he played in the complex league last year and had like 154 weighted runs created plus in 34 games, 103 plate appearances. There's talk of when he was first signed, there was a report of potential for power, but he didn't hit for a lot of power last year, only 2 home runs. But he had an almost 30% walk rate against 22% K rate, which was actually double what it was like in the Dominican. But a kid with that kind of patience and bat the ball, I think there's probably a good chance he begins in Bradenton, although there is a lot of catchers in those lower levels. So this might be one that I have to replace when they come out with full season rosters. So we'll see. But as of right now, Miguel Sosa is my catcher.
I like that. I'm looking at my roster now, and I'm going to struggle with strikeouts, I think. So at this point, I think I'm just going all in on that and just take the upside with it. And I'm going to take Matt Gorski. 2020 guy last year, power. I don't like the glove is major league ready. I just don't know if the bat's ever going to be like able to stick him in a lineup and all that at any consistent point. So I think it's pretty safe as like a AAA type of player. Power plays pretty much anywhere he goes. Like the power is that legit. And if he stays healthy, he's a guy that can push like a 30-30 kind of envelope with that kind of power speed combination. It's just he's going to strike out a ton. So I'm going to buy all into the points that I'm going to lose with strikeouts this year and go with Matt Gorski. And I think with my pick coming back around, I'm going to take somebody again that we know I'm going to have to replace. But if Nola's going to go ahead and take Paul Skeens, I'm going to take Jared Jones then. Because I feel like at this point, like the value that I'm getting on taking Jared Jones at this point, like I could probably put almost anybody in his spot, and like I'd still come out ahead with it. So I don't think he's gonna make like everyone wants him to make the team out of camp and stuff like that. I still see the potential, and I'm starting to buy back into the starter thing more. I just think that there's a lot more work that can be done, that should be done. I kind of felt like he got pushed to AAA a little bit quicker than maybe he was ready for. Yeah,
but if you ask Ben Charrington, AA and AAA are the same.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jones now, and realizing that at this point I'm gonna have to like whatever pitcher I probably take at this point is probably not going to make too much of a difference. So if I can get some added points from him right now, I feel comfortable with that.
Man, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. I just had someone in mind, and let's see. I think I'm going to go against my my draft thought process again here. Another guy that we personally have liked. Similar to Urkelani, I'm going to take Wilbur Dotel, and he's another guy that's probably going to go to Greensboro, which could murder me. But on one hand, he's kind of similar to Urkelani in that he flashes great stuff earlier in games when he's like full stamina, everything's working, but kind of tires out and like loses the shape of his pitches and everything. But he also had I don't have him directly in front of me at the moment, but I think he had near like double the innings pitched as Urkelani, so he's a little more stretched out, I think. Another year, so I'm going to bank on a breakout year for him as well.
Nice. And I mean, I'm kind of going to go with, I don't know. I got to go with it just because I think that the injury last year to Malcolm Nunez just kind of ruined everything that I wanted to see from him last season. I know that obviously there was like the thing coming over when he got traded that, he was in a hitter-friendly ballpark, and he was in a hitter-friendly ballpark when he was playing in St. Louis's system, but for anybody that's watched the videos of him and seen those home runs, I didn't really see them as like sneaking over the fence types of home runs. I think the power is real. I do like that he does have a decent walk rate for a guy that could have that much power. It doesn't strike out a ton, did more last year. I don't know if that was more injury related. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bet on Malcolm Nunez this year. And then for the next pick, I need another pitcher. I'm going to go with Jackson Wolf. I know he's on the 40-man, but I think he's kind of a little bit further down. I know that he does have a major league appearance before the Pirates acquired him, but I didn't really look too much into that. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be in the Indianapolis, rotation for the entire year. And even though I'm not left-handed, I really like left-handed pitchers. I don't know why. I always have. So I'm going to go with Jackson Wolf there. And like I said, if he ends up, getting called up at some point in time, there'll definitely be a way to backfill that when that comes.
All right. Oh man, back to me. Let's see. So I could see him beginning in Double-A again. Might get pushed to Indy, but I'm going to pick our boy Sean Sullivan to finish off my pitchers, and especially now that we've seen him throw in 94, 95. I'm not sure if it's going to hold for complete starts.
96 the last game.
Well, yeah, I think it was 95.6. I think is what's
you always round up.
we round up, so he touched 96. So the command hasn't really seemed to be what it was when he was originally in Greensboro, which is what kind of got me on the Sullivan train initially, was just the command of his fastball. So hopefully with his added velo, he doesn't turn into Chad Kuhl, who lost all sense of control as soon as he had that velo bump. But if he finds all that along with that velo bump, I think he's definitely under the radar type guy.
Like that. Yeah, he's. Say one thing with that. He kind of reminds me watching him in spring and just kind of thinking about it. I mean, Carmen Mlodzinski struck out more, I think, and had more of a swing and miss kind of to his game than Sullivan did. But now, like, watching Sullivan in spring, like, part of me, like, just thinking, is like, I wonder what happens if we just switched him to the bullpen, like they did with Mlodzinski, if that velocity stayed, because his little, like, the little sweepy slider that he has is like sneaky, like really good. And maybe with the velo pump up and the slider plays a little bit more, maybe they could find some more success with that. Maybe he does find a little more swing and miss in his game than previously. So I don't know. I was just thinking that the other day when I was watching him pitch on there. So I guess maybe with the backload of pitchers they have in the upper levels, maybe that's something they kind of look at some point.
Yeah.
All right, so I need a catcher now. Once Alfonso went off the board, I just figured, okay, my catcher will be just my last pick. And I have two right here at the top of my list because I didn't expect Nola I expected Nola to take one of these two. So I can go with the guy who's probably going to play in Greensboro this year and has the kind of hitting tools to take advantage of that, I think. Or I can go with, like, probably the better guy in overall that's going to I think we're gonna go with Abraham Gutierrez as my catcher on here. I think I like the maybe this helps me a little bit in the strikeout category because he doesn't strike out as much. The power, I think I kind of was blinded by Greensboro that one year. I didn't really realize that maybe. But, I mean, he could hit a bunch of doubles and a good contact hitter and stuff like that. So I'm going to go with Gutierrez. I think he bounced. And, like, I went to a Richmond game when he was playing, and he hit, like, a double off the right center field wall. That was pretty impressive. So Gutierrez to fill my catcher, and then I need one more pitcher. I have, like, 3 circled here. I don't know if I should go with another starter to eat some innings. I'm gonna go with a high upside guy here, and I'm gonna go with Patrick Riley. I think he's gonna get. He's another draft pick from last year. He's a reliever. maybe they try him as a starter. I'd also allow him to be in Bradenton for a bit, but upper 90s fastball, really good cutter. He'll get a bunch of strikeouts and stuff like that. We'll get some walks too, but
another one of those guys whose fastball shape and with very limited small sample size looks really phenomenal.
Yeah. So
let's see. Well, I guess this is my final pick. And man, this is tough. I think I'm going to go for the stolen bags again, and I'm going to pick Jesus Castillo.
Okay.
I'm just going to get all the stolen bags this year. All of them.
I should get a couple.
Another one of those like high contact guys, a lot of speed, not a lot of power in there, but it's especially in the minors, it's the type of tools that play well in getting on base and swiping bags. So
was it Prospect Live had him as their like 10th ranked prospect for the Pirates?
Something like that. Yeah.
And this one, I'm pretty sure he's going to start in the complex league, but I'm going to take him just in case, fingers crossed that he doesn't. And then I'll have to pick up another pitcher at some point in time, and it's going to be Xander Meath. I think he's probably I think he's probably going to follow the Michael Kennedy path, Owen Kellington, that type of thing. But just in case he comes and he shows out and they're saying, you know what, you can start in Bradenton. I just couldn't let him go past there. But I mean, that was man, guys, that started getting down to, like, we're talking about the nitty gritty towards the end, and Murph waited till the end for a catcher. I started off with like 3 pitchers in the first 4 picks, and then was struggling to find somebody to draft towards the end. So, but
that's what, I got a couple pitchers right off the bat there, and then I kind of wanted to just stay away from Greensboro pitchers, but then I was like, oh man, I guess I got to start taking them.
Absolutely. And guys, I mean, we're way over what I usually do on these podcast episodes, but it was a great time. For those of you that don't, go follow Anthony Murphy, go follow Nola Jeffy, read the stuff that they're writing at Bucs on Substack. Hold up that prospect guide one more time, guys. To the 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates minor league guide through Draft Nation, and we're going to come back and we're going to look at these probably about a month or so into the season and check to see how we're doing. Maybe whenever we can get together for this. But like I said, the brainchilds of myself and Murph at about almost the same time here, pulling Nola into our craziness. But guys, it's time to get to some beer reviews. Before I jumped on with the boys here, I said that I probably should start doing minor league news and bourbon because I've been drinking a lot more bourbon recently. Luckily, my wife and I were able to sneak away to get some brunch while the kids were just kind of hanging out around the house. And I got to have a couple beers that I've never had before from a brewery that I probably should have heard of, but hadn't heard of. It is Four Seasons Brewing Company from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. And this is another one where we're saying like Du Bois should be Dubois. A lot of people, or Lancaster is Lancaster. This is another one with Latrobe, because people either say Latrobe or Latrobe, whichever one you want to go with. But they had a couple good beers there where we went out to eat. The first one is the Conversation, the Session IPA 4% on the weighted based on batting average. I'm going to give that one a 425, knock it down to 375 because I love my sessions. The next one is the Ale E Yins. It's spelled just like that, Ale E Yins. It's an American IPA. Going to give that one a 400, knock it down to 350. That one's coming in at 6.4%. A little bit heavier than I would like, a little bit more of the fuller flavor. But I would try more from Four Seasons, and it just happens to be the place that we went to. It's their beer of the month, so I might have to stop back out there again this month. Hopefully next week we'll be recording live from Bradenton. I'll be down there. Gonna decide what brewery I'm gonna do it from this time. I got a few to choose from, but until then, guys. Let's go Indians. Let's go Curve. Let's go Hoppers. And let's go Bradenton Marauders.